right.
I need this, we need to slip up.
Right
We
to,
need a drawer.
right to the end. Would like to welcome each and every one of you to tonight's meeting. This is the 20th meeting of the year of the City Board of Directors on this Tuesday, October 19, 2021. Please stand for our invocation led by Pastor Brad Cranston, and I'll lead the pledge. All rise.
Father, we come before you today and we thank you for this opportunity. Lord, we thank you for our city and this community where we can come together and accomplish things for the betterment of our lives and for your kingdom. Lord, we pray tonight, as there's many people here that want to speak and have concerns on their mind, we pray for wisdom and clarity. I pray that our mayor and council members would just have your grace and goodness upon them. And Lord, in all things, we just pray tonight that your name would be lifted up in our homes and our lives and in our community here as a whole. We pray these things in your great name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Director Aaron Holliday.
Here.
Director Elaine Jones.
Here.
Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith.
Here.
Director Carol Weatherford.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia.
Here.
Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. At this time, we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda or items to be moved from consent agenda to new business?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we move item number 2, Resolution R21-153, and item number 6, Resolution R21-157, to new business so that we might take the opportunity to discuss the appointments of the Transportation and Animal Advisory Committee,
Items 2 and 6 or 2 through 6?
2 and 6.
2 and 6. Okay, we have a motion to move items 2 and 6 to new business.
We had another item that we'd like to, or I'd like to include, or a separate amendment, or if we could include in the amendment to move the opioid settlement to, so
It's
that
item 10. So
that could be further discussed in public.
yeah. Director Weatherford, would you amend your amendment to
Yes, I'll
include 2,
also-
6, and 10?
Yeah, I'll say that also that we...
Director Garcia, you second that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor of those amendments signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Do we still need a vote on the whole thing? No, we're good. No, we're good. Thank you. At this time, we'll consider approval of the minutes of the October 5th regularly scheduled meeting of 2021 and the specially called meeting on October 12th, 2021. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve both minutes.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by
Sit.
Director Garcia. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guest. Our very own Police Chief Chris Chapman. Chris, come forward, please. He's going to recognize our very own city manager, but I'm going to let you do all the talking on that.
Absolutely. So we have a
please.
few guests that want to join us to help recognize our city manager in this award tonight. So they're going to filter in. This will be the most protected room in the city of Hot Springs tonight, I promise. So joining us is our command staff and our SWAT team, who are great supporters of our city, take care of our city each and every day. So they actually just came back from a day of training, staying sharp. So they're about to wrap up their day, but they wanted to be here with us for this special occasion. So not only do I stand tonight as your chief of police, but I also stand as the first vice president of the Arkansas Chiefs Association for the state of Arkansas. I'll have the honor of serving as the president of the association come September. The association is made up of over 323 chiefs from across the state, and it's an honor to be able to serve that organization. Each year, the association awards a Officer of the Year, a Legislator of the Year, and a City Manager or Mayor of the Year. This year, our very own Bill Burrow, City Manager of Hot Springs, was chosen among many very worthy candidates to receive this award. And I had the opportunity to present him with this award back in September at our annual conference. And I simply want to say this. This is the reason Bill won this award. At a time when our profession is under such scrutiny, at a time when our profession is going through such a rigorous overhauling and reform, we had the pleasure of working in a city where not only our board of directors, but our city manager and our community supported us in our efforts to police this community in an ethical and professional manner every single day. Bill supported us with new funding. He supported new ideas, technology, new staff when people were seeing their budgets cut, and defund the police was the rhetoric going across this country. We were building our police department because we were doing things right here, and that was recognized by our city manager and you as the board of directors, and we really appreciate that. So I couldn't think of any person that was more deserving of Bill. And they asked me a couple of questions about the nominations, and so I said everything I just said, and I said this. He makes working in this community a pleasure. Not only is he my boss, but he's my friend. We've known each other for over 30 years, and it is a pleasure to work beside him. The fact that he has rebuilt the relationship between the county and the city, and that we have such a great working relationship across the multiple communities in Garland County is a true testament to his belief in relationships and doing things the right way. So, Bill, it is our honor to present you with the City Manager of the Year for the Arkansas Chiefs of Police Association.
I'm probably not going to be able to talk on this. Guys, when y'all came in, man, it just brought tears to my eyes. You know, we don't do what we do for awards, and I've been fortunate in this past year to win a couple, or to be awarded a couple, named a couple, whatever it may be, but nothing will ever be as special as this one. And you know, I made a commitment to Chris when he came back that we would do everything in our power to not only fight what crime we have in our city, but to make sure that each and every one of you have what you need to make that happen, stay safe, and protect yourselves, because you protect us each and every day. So I'm just a small part of that. You are the tip of the spear, and we recognize that, and really, I thank you. Thank you.
Well deserved. Thank you very much.
Just for that.
At this time, I'll recognize Mr. Neg Skoog, Friends of the Park, and they're going to be presenting a little check to the city of Hot Springs. You can all come up and surround Ned, and Ned can...
Be good support, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course, we are with Hot Springs Friends of the Parks, and all these are board members that are here with me. And we have the happy task of presenting a check for $5,000 to help with the design of the Stokes Creek Greenway Trail Phase 2. And as any of our help, and we'll show you here in a minute, is usually to complement city funds. And the city funds are still critical, of course, and but I'm trying to help out a bit from a private standpoint. So this is the check, right? Okay, and you get okay. And so just a little bit quick about Friends. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we try to help with either fundraisers or our expertise or with letters of advocacy or advocacy efforts. If you can go to the next slide, please. In the past 17 years or so, we've been able to help with direct funds and with land acquired and with work in kind, which of course is trail design, surveys, appraisals, title searches, and we usually try to use the direct funds for a grant match, so that brings you $4 to $1. So all that totals to about 1.4 million lately. Of course, that sounds like a big number, and is, but in 17 years and in the public arena, it affects a lot of public, the whole public, and is a good thing. And of course, just like to say, working with the city, really compliment staff and you guys for working on this thing. I know that there's lots and lots of worthy causes, and but this is one too, I think, that merits some amount, not necessarily a real big amount, but some amount, and that's been happening more and more, so I think we're all going to find that's a good thing. Just quickly, and it's not just us, of course, it's the city and everybody, but status-wise, we hope to see pretty soon here, maybe within the next 6 months, construction to complete the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail. Of course, recently we've had the Northwoods and Pullman and Hollywood actually get things done, and there's work going on like this with Stokes and Gulfa and Southwest Trail. So we plan to continue our efforts, and we applaud you guys and thank you. Of course, board members or volunteers, and I think that gets forgotten sometimes, but we really appreciate your efforts. You've seen on the screen we are going to have put in a plug for a fundraiser coming up before too long, the Huff, Puff, and Stuff Thanksgiving Day 10K or 5K walk and run, right? I jumped over the benefits here, but we should never do that. As you can see them, economic, environment. The economic you can see in the Northwoods activity. Environment, just preserving some of nature and so on. So, and all of that contributes to quality of place. One quick thing, if I can, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but Ken Freeman is going to be leaving in December. And I'd just like to say thanks so much to Ken, who's really been a primary person in making all these things happen. So that's very quick. If there's any questions, glad to answer them now or some other time. And
I would like to personally thank, and on behalf of the entire board of directors, the work of Friends of the Park. You are the connecting communities and connecting neighborhoods through trail systems is such a sought after amenity today in so many communities. And I have a lot of friends who live in various parts of town who comment on the ability to move freely without using road systems by accessing the trails and saying, when is this extension going to be done? When can I come from this direction to that direction? It's all in time, but your work does not go unnoticed, and we certainly do appreciate each and every one of you for your efforts in this area, because it enhances quality of life, as you indicated. It enhances health and fitness, and it really enhances property values too along the trail system. People look for that. How close am I to that amenity? So we appreciate your efforts in that regard and working with Anthony and the city of Hot Springs. So thank you very much.
We look forward to continuing to do so, and thank you.
Thank you. This time we'll hear from our city manager, Mr. Bill Burrows, for the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I think Ken may have just slipped out of the room, but he's going to be really, really hard to replace. I mean, he has been the stalwart for years, out in the weeds, the bushes, flagging trails where we need to build trails, and there is no replacing a Ken Freeman. But we will talk about that soon as we talk about the budget a little bit. But he has been really the catalyst that has pushed a lot of these trails along in Hot Springs, and we're certainly gonna miss him. Speaking of awards, and I told Sheila earlier, it's difficult to accept an award like that in this kind of a setting. It's almost self-indulging, but it really does mean a lot to me, Chief. And you didn't tell me that was going to happen, and it really was special and somewhat emotional. And I don't get there very often, but that was really nice. But also, the City of Hot Springs will be recognized in 2021 Trendsetter magazine that'll be coming out. Also recognized at the Arkansas Municipal League's Winter Conference as the winner of the Environmental Green Management Practices category. And we also had an honorable mention in the Public Safety category for cities of 20,000 plus in population. So we had several members of the team that worked on those submissions. We don't know which one won yet. They haven't told us that, but we submitted 3 or 4, and just happy that out of that we were able to garner the win and also an honorable mention in another category. So we'll be well represented as we go to the municipal league. The mask mandate was lifted here in the city of Hot Springs, as well as the county and our buildings and offices. Certainly still encouraged and optional for those that still feel that they need to have that extra layer of protection. We have seen our numbers throughout the county continue to decline, as well as in the state of Arkansas. So we'll be watching that closely, and if we see that number start going the other way, then we may have to take another look at how we're going to deal with that as we move forward. But right now they're strongly encouraged and optional, and if you can have social distancing. So want to let folks know that. I had several questions about that today. Also want to promote flu vaccinations. We talk a lot about the COVID vaccinations, and those are very important, but we're about to enter into the flu season. So we're hearing from our Dr. Shelby that those are going to be very important to get your flu vaccinations. Last year was kind of a weird year. The flu didn't really hit the city of Hot Springs, but COVID did. So I don't know if it was wearing the mask and doing the things that we were doing in protection, but there wasn't a lot of flu cases, and that could be different this year. So please get your flu vaccine. Don't feel a sense of safety because we didn't have it last year. I want to thank the fire and police departments for what they're doing with the youth in the community. The fire department has been visiting elementary schools this past week and into this week with the annual tradition of the share fire safety tips with the children, and those I know have been really popular in the schools, and seeing the kids come out and see the fire trucks and listen to that message. And the police fire departments joined forces yesterday in a red, white, and blue exhibition game of basketball against the Champion Christian Tigers at the Champion Community Center. Chief, how'd y'all do?
We survived. We showed up for work today, sir.
On another note, we had a memorial bench that was dedicated at the pollinator garden near the farmers market, which is a new pollinator garden. That was in honor and recognition of our late master gardener, Gene Lichlighter, who initiated the pollinator garden project. Gene, I can remember many conversations with Gene. He was very active in the beautification commission when I was the solid waste director, and got to work with him quite often, and just a really, really, really good man, and glad to see him recognized and receive that memorial bench. I know the mayor was there and able to speak, as well as our Parks and Trails director, so that was very nice. Talk a little bit about our water project. Water projects continue to move through. Actually, at your next meeting, you'll be hearing about a 3 million gallon clear well That was bid last Monday. We're hoping to get that approved at your next meeting and have that completed by the end of 2022. We've got a camera now, much like we had with the 3 million gallon water tank behind Cornerstone, where we had a time-lapse camera that took a photo every 30 minutes in the day and night, so you could go back and see that whole progress of that tank being built. We've got that same setup for the water treatment plant itself out on Randall Road off of Amity. You can get to that by going to cityhs.net/utilities. And that's going to be something to see as that project continues and we get a few pictures and some timeline behind it. Still on track to hopefully have all of this built by the end of 23. Starting to get some comments and questions about the Majestic property, and just as a report to the board, I have been in contact with Mr. Wilson. He has indicated that the project from their at least their initial due diligence is a go. So we should be hearing more from him over the next couple of weeks. I'd mentioned that the dam work was completed at Lake Sanderson up in the utilities in the lakeside area, but that water treatment plant, utilities are now able to get across that particular lake with some of our UTVs. Cody Howe's here with us tonight, who manages our water treatment facilities and is key for that project. But we also, have a bridge that you're able to traverse through the Northwoods, and we've already been in contact with I would say a grant that may help us build another 10 miles of trail in the near future. I know Steve and Tracy Berry are working very close with that project, and again, that's going to be a benefit not only for utilities but for the Northwoods as a whole. Sales tax, July, our sales tax was up 14.7%, and for the year to date was up 17.11% through July. I want to thank those that have worked the household hazardous waste, mainly our solid waste department and volunteers from our district court and community service workers. We had over 500 cars at that event that came through there between 8 and 1. With household hazardous waste, I kind of had a quick definition of that. It's basically anything you find under the kitchen sink and maybe out in a garage shelf. 500 cars, I think that's a record. I don't think we ever had that many in the past. So very, very pleased with that. And that is sponsored by the Southwest Central Regional Solid Waste Management District and funded by that group as well. Other than that, Mayor, we've been extremely busy with many projects, and over the past few weeks, we've had the daunting task of putting the 2022 budget together. It's coming along well. We'll, as you know, be presenting that in a work session here in about a week. So we're wrapping that up. I think the numbers are done. Now we're building a presentation, a PowerPoint. So looking forward to getting that in front of the board. And that concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you very much. Board of Directors announcements of upcoming events. Do directors have any upcoming event they'd like the public to be aware of?
I have a couple.
Please proceed. Director Holliday.
Thanks. So 2 events are going to take place at Watkins Park coming up. So on Saturday, October 30th, the Village Jammers, which are musicians from Hot Springs Village, are coming in to do a jam session. They're inviting the public to jump in or just listen. So that'll happen down in the amphitheater at Watkins Park from 1 to 4. And then also the next day, actually on Halloween from 5 to 7, the Park Avenue Community Association is doing a trick-or-treat event at Watkins Park as well.
Oh, very nice. Thank you.
What day for trick-or-treat? Halloween. Sunday.
Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. This Thursday at 10 a.m., the Mpo meeting is taking place at the Western Planning District office on Central across from Will's, and that starts at 10 a.m. The police and fire departments are again working on Boo and the Badge for Halloween, and this year it will be inside at the Hot Springs Junior Academy on Emory Street, and the police officers and firefighters have scheduled a lot of fun activities with the activities. Instead of a drive-through as last year, they get to go inside and go place to place. And it'll be a safe place for the children to participate in the Halloween activities there. And today, the Oak Lawn Rotary Club announced the Christmas parade for downtown Hot Springs, scheduled for December the 6th, with the theme this year of Christmas traditions. And they are taking the applications now for floats and other participation in the parade that will begin at 6 p.m. So that's something to look forward to in the first part of December.
Very nice. And December 6th is a Monday.
Yes.
So come out and enjoy the parade.
Man,
Yes, Director Jones.
yes, on November the 9th, which is a Tuesday, at 5:30, we are having Gateway and the surrounding areas. I'm having a town hall meeting. One topic we need to discuss is the work that's being done on Malvern Road. So I'm sure Gary will be in attendance to explain all of that to us, and our city manager will fill in the blank spots if we need any. Anything else done or talked about. So that's December the 9th at 5:30.
You said, you originally said November the 9th.
November, I'm sorry.
November the 9th.
December is the Christmas parade.
Yeah, I just want you to know I'm listening to you.
I know you are.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Any other upcoming events? Well, thank you very much. At this time, we'll consider those items on the consent agenda. Those are of routine nature and do not merit individual discussion. So I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Director Garcia, seconded by Director Weatherford. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Consent agenda is approved. And we had a couple items earlier this evening that were moved from consent agenda to new business, and we'll begin with those. We'll, at this time, consider Resolution R-21-153, and I'll ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-23-153, a resolution appointing Julie Ann Thompson Kendrick to the Hot Springs Animal Control Advisory Committee. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Jones, seconded by Director Weatherford. We'll have City Clerk Harmony Morrissey provide a staff report.
Thank you. We had interviews last week with the board. Those were conducted in a special meeting. There has been talk about some of the other applicants received that evening, but there was one official candidate who applied for that position.
Very
Mayor,
good.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to amend this resolution, if I may.
Amend it in which way?
I would like to move that we also appoint Thomas Dysinger to the Animal Advisory Commission. If you all remember, he did apply to civil service and was deemed not the best candidate for that for various reasons, but because of his work in the community, I think he would be a very good fit for Animal Advisory.
And could you repeat the name, please?
Thomas Dysinger.
Yeah. Thomas. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Director Weatherford. Any further discussion? Did we
have a
have two
question.
seats available?
Just to note, there are 2 open seats, so
Okay.
this would fill the.
This would
That's
fill.
what I was going to ask.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
are 2
Okay, so-
positions.
So along with Julianne Thompson Kendrick, we would add Thomas Dysinger to the Hot Springs Animal Control Advisory Committee. So we had a
And
motion.
he did say he was interested.
All right. So we have a A motion and a second to amend. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign.
The amendment is approved. If there needs to be further discussion on the motion as amended, that's fine. If not, you can call the roll.
Call the roll, please.
Director Holliday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. Our second item that was removed from the consent agenda to new business is to consider Resolution R21-157, and I'll ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-21-157, a resolution appointing Michael Trey Carr to the Hot Springs Transportation Advisory Committee. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So move.
Director Jones, seconded by
Second.
Director Trustee.
Mayor.
And a staff report. Oh, go ahead, Director Wood.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the resolution and add Mr. Bill Lamont to the Transportation Advisory Committee.
Second.
William Lamond. We have a second on that?
Second.
Director Trustee. Any discussion?
The same questions, to verify the positions are open and this person is willing to serve.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. There are 2 open positions on the Transportation Advisory Committee. Both are actually full terms, so they will expire in 2025.
Thank you.
Very nice. It's always nice to have people willing to step up and fill these open positions.
Definitely.
So we have a motion motion and a second to amend. All those in favor of the motion to amend signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion is approved. All those, call the roll on the motion as amended.
Director Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. Our final item that was removed from consent agenda to new business is to consider Resolution R21-161, and I'll ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-21-161, a resolution authorizing the City of Hot Springs to opt in to national opioid litigation settlements against pharmaceutical distributors McKesson, Cardinal Health, and Amerisource Bergen, and against manufacturer Janssen Pharmaceuticals, Inc., by authorizing the mayor to execute subdivision in settlement participation forms. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Weatherford, second by Director Garcia. And I'm not sure, is
I'll be
Bill
happy
or
to,
Brian,
Mayor.
you're going to do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
As a board in the community, I'm sure are aware, for the last several years, our nation and our state has felt the impacts of the addiction and dependency on opioids. Those that have been prescribed legally, those that have been illicitly secured. The impact on society, the health of our citizens has been very impactful. As a result of the liberal prescription policies that have been put in place, national litigation has been instituted. Various states have joined to participate in that litigation, including the state of Arkansas and many of its cities through the Arkansas Municipal League. As a result of that, the litigation and the negotiations that have spawned as a result of that, there are 2 proposed settlements that involve distributors and manufacturers. The distributors of McKesson and manufacturer Janssen Pharmaceuticals and its parent company Johnson & Johnson. These settlement proposals will result in approximately $26 billion, that's with a B, will be paid out by these manufacturers and distributors, of which approximately $22 billion will find its way to states in participating subdivisions such as the political subdivisions such as the City of Hot Springs. Those will be paid out over a course of 18 years with respect to the distributors and 9 years with respect to the manufacturers. So in order to opt in to these negotiations, the Attorney General's Office and the Arkansas Municipal League have provided us with participation forms for each of these settlements, And this resolution would authorize the mayor to execute those on behalf of the city of Hot Springs so that our voice can be heard with respect to the distribution of these proceeds. The distribution formula will be based primarily on state population and the relative impacts of the opioid epidemic that we have had. And so we will know those numbers as we go through the settlement process, but this allows us to opt in to that discussion.
You're good. Any questions of Mr. Albright on this matter? I know this was on the consent agenda, and is there anybody that wanted to speak on this that didn't have an opportunity to sign up? I will state that, the Arkansas Municipal League, working with the governor's office and attorney general's office, and counties across the state, created a really good structure of coined United Arkansas. We're a very small state compared to other states, and we're very small compared to the major metropolitan areas that dot across the United States. And there was a belief that by having a United Arkansas, we would have a stronger voice at the table to bring back dollars to Arkansas that communities have expended to fight this opioid epidemic. So it's imperative that we as a community continue our joint effort in this area. And so I'm certainly appreciative of all those who have moved forward in this regard. This is not a 1 or 2 year battle. This is going to be nearly a forever battle. And as much as we've gone through COVID, and it looks like numbers are starting to decline, and it's been about a 2.5 year battle. It seems like, what is it, 2021, March of 21, and now we're actually 18 months or so, but we're still not out of the woods yet. But the opioid use is strong, and it's going to be continual. So these dollars are going to be well spent in trying to assist those who have fallen victim to overuse of the opioids. So it's a good thing for the state of Arkansas that we work together with the other communities and counties across the state to make us a healthier state in this regard. So, any other comments? Director Garcia?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the information that's being shared and reviewed at the Mpo meeting this coming Thursday, unfortunately, the past few years, we've seen an increase in traffic fatalities. And one of the leading causes identified was driving under the opioid influence. And so no one is exempt from being touched in some way by this epidemic, and this is a big deal to get the funds coming in to help across the state to fight this and to help those that are in need of the help.
Yeah, a lot of communities went on their own, and they negotiated their own settlements, and those might be larger communities within larger states, but for our process here, I think is very, very wise, and so that this will be a step in the right direction for us to be able to combat this. So, any other comments? Thank you. Please call the roll.
Director Dobbs-Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holiday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. We have now at this time we'll hold a public meeting on the issue of reapportioning the 6 city districts within the city of Hot Springs, Arkansas. I declare that this public hearing is open. We do have a few individuals have elected to, or desired to speak on this issue, and I'll call them up. Ms. Jean Latesfield. Ms. Latesfield, did you want to speak on this item? We're on reapportioning the city districts. Please restate your name, address, and district, please.
Jean Lacefield, and I live at 130 High Terrace in District 1. And I am speaking on behalf, and thank you everybody for the opportunity to speak to you, the mayor, the city manager, city staff, and the city directors regarding our ability in the Gateway Community Association. We service in District 2. And not only did we have our boundaries, but we also had an area that we called our service area, and that was the Housing Authority. And those residents of the Housing Authority, what we did in that area, we provided sidewalks on Silver down to East Grand, Wade Street, Crescent Street, Illinois and Montreal, Vine Street, and with the flashing crosswalks. So we see this area as these issues are binding to keep a community together. And in light of that, these kind of things also make a common community. So those common community things are a school district. So having the Langston School area and school district there for those residents, that binds them together as a common community. And by taking and moving this district line, takes them out of that district. So that means that the kids will be living in District 1, but also going to school in District 2. So things that also bind them are their civic engagement in that area, the actual maintenance and the $25 million investment of that particular housing area, improving their lifestyle. The also pride of celebrations for the community associations that support them, and also where they shop. Will be shopping in District 2 while they'll live in District 1. So for these reasons, I oppose the current map, which takes those residents out of District 2 and have them in District 1. I think we will lose some continuity of a common community and a spirit for that area. And so I would like to see, as respectfully request, that a new map be drawn to actually have those residents remain in District 2. Thank you for hearing my comments.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Lacefield? Thank you. This time I'll call on Mr. Elmer Beard. Mr. Beard, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
I'm Elmer Beard, 202 Henry Street of District 2. I support the statement just made by Jean Lacefield. To do what she is requesting will involve gerrymandering based on my experience of some 50 years ago when we began redistricting for the purpose of fair representation on the board of directors at that time of the city council. Again, to do this would involve gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is legal. It would involve the commission as well as the board of directors. Pray that you would give it serious consideration. Again, as a result of the experience I've had with this, I looked around the room. 50 years ago, none of you were old enough to come in here, I don't think. You weren't old enough to vote. Gerrymandering is legal. It's ethical. It's healthy for our community. And if gerrymandering is necessary to do what Jean has just pointed out, please consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Beard? Thank you. The last individual that signed up to speak during the public hearing is Mr. Richard Harrington. Mr. Harrington, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
My name is Richard Harrington Jr. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the City of Hot Springs. I'm kind of the oddball out of the group. I don't live in the district. I operate a very large agency within District 2, within Ms. Jones's district. So I represent several hundred people in that district and really represent several thousand people in the City of Hot Springs who need housing. I had a chance to look at that map, and my office is immediately in the area of that map where that map is affected at. So I really take opposition to what this does. It really it negatively impacts people that I work with. You actually split people right across the street. You have a park that's in Ms. Jones's district on Wade on one side of the street, and then you have my office directly on the other side of Wade, which I really find, to be honest, which I find offensive. I'm not in favor of gerrymandering. I'm against gerrymandering. Being apart, the residents have nothing in common with, no disrespect to Ms. Holiday, but have nothing in common with District 1, which is the Park Avenue, Whittington, downtown, and the National Park. They would be totally isolated. They would get no services at all, none. And it really hurts me to see that you would even think about affecting them that way. We spent $25 million in that neighborhood, and to this really, to me, it's a slap in the face. So I ask you to really think about that and reconsider that. If you want to do something with the lines, then the city should come together with a committee from each of your districts to put together another proposal, because this proposal really does not help anyone, and particularly those in the African American community, because they're really getting hurt. So I ask you to reconsider this, and I thank you for your time.
Any questions of Mr. Harrington? Thank you. Is there anyone else here tonight that would like to speak during this public hearing? Anybody like to speak on this public hearing?
Mayor, I'd just point out that the action item will be later in the agenda. There are a couple of condemnations that the board will consider before that.
The last business item of the evening is on the redistricting. So we'll declare the public hearing closed. This time we'll consider Resolution R21-162. And ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-21-162, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069 located at 405 Bauer Street. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by
Second.
Director Garcia. The staff report will be provided by Ms. Kathy Selman, Director of Planning and Development.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening.
The city is proposing condemnation for the purpose of demolishing and clearing a vacant single-family structure at 405 Bauer Street. The structure is blighting the neighborhood and poses public health and safety risks. The structure was inspected and deemed unsafe for habitation because of extensive structural and foundation damage. Due to the extent of deterioration, the inability or unwillingness of the property owner to make repairs to stabilize it, and having no reasonable alternative, the structure should be raised and removed. Specifically, there is damage to the exterior wall and roof of this structure, which was caused when a tree fell onto it. This has also caused extensive damage to the interior of the structure. The foundation of the structure is rock, which was built with no footings, so the building is sitting on top of the ground. The property is owned by Gary Meek, The taxes are current, and a 20-day notice of condemnation was issued to Mr. Meek, and we have received the signed green card back. The living room floor has fallen in, the roof is collapsing, and this is a last resort. So we request your approval of this request. Thank you.
Any questions of Ms. Selman? Anyone in the audience want to speak on this issue? Brian?
Anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution R-21-162, condemning certain real property located at 405 Bower Street? 405 Bower Street. There is none, Mayor.
Thank you. Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we'll consider Resolution R-21-163, and that's the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-21-163, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069 located at 407 Henry Street. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by Director Trustee. And again, our staff report will be provided by Director of Planning and Development, Ms. Kathy Selman.
Thank you, Mayor. This request is for condemnation for the purpose of demolishing and clearing a vacant structure at 407 Henry Street. The structure is blighting the neighborhood and poses health and safety risks. The structure was inspected and deemed unsafe for habitation because of extensive structural and foundation damage. Due to the extent of deterioration, the inability or unwillingness of the property owner to make repairs to stabilize it, and having no reasonable alternative, the structure should be raised and removed. There are 3 other buildings on this parcel. They are addressed as 104 Lincoln Street. They are not a part of this condemnation. There is a substantial hole in the roof of this building, which has caused significant damage, including collapsed ceilings and mold issues. Inside the structure, the property owner is in Fayetteville. The taxes are delinquent, but the property is not yet certified to the state. The city has been cutting the grass. We boarded all 4 of the structures over the past several years, and we have liens totaling $1,918.65. The exterior walls are buckling in places. The ceiling inside shows signs of the roof leak. The floors are sagging. There is a number of broken windows. It is a multi-unit building. And again, this is a last resort that we come to you with this request, and are hoping for approval of the condemnation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Selman? Is there anyone in the audience that want to speak on this issue? Mr. Albright?
Anyone present to speak in opposition of Resolution R-21-163, condemning certain real property at 407 Henry Street? 407 Henry Street.
I'm not on record to do so. I didn't sign up.
Please come forward.
Just for historical purposes, since I live on Henry Street, I'm interested in the history of this community and what it means to the future. If we could possibly, and you probably have this, have a photo of that building before what is to be done will be done. We need it for historical purposes, and I would like to have a copy of it as historian.
The photograph?
Yeah, you probably already have it on hand.
We do. Yes, we do.
If I could get enlarged copies at your expense, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you hear that?
I did. It was subtle, but I heard it.
Subtle, wasn't it?
It was. Very smooth.
Very good. Any other comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. The resolution is adopted. Our final action item of the evening is to consider ordinance 021-46, and I'll entertain a motion at this time to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by Director Garcia. I have a motion and a second to read by title only. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
No.
Approved, read by title.
Ordinance O-21-46, an ordinance adopting the Hot Springs Board of Directors 2020 Apportionment Redistricting Plan Map. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by
Second.
Director Trustee. And City Clerk Harmony Morrissey will provide the staff report.
Thank you. Arkansas Code governs the reapportionment under the city manager form of government. Subsection 1 of 1461-109 states that the governing body shall divide the territory of the city into the number of wards having substantially equal population according to the most recently published federal decennial census of the population in the city, equal to the number of members of the governing body to be elected from the wards. Thus, the Board of Directors must divide Hot Springs into 6 districts having substantially equal population, and with one district having a majority of its residents identify as minority. According to the 2020 census, the city of Hot Springs has a population of 37,930 residents. Thus, the districts would have a target number of 6,321 residents each. We have a plus or minus factor of 5% that's allowable under the law. The districts should be divided so that they maintain the core of the existing districts where possible, are geographically contiguous and compact, maintain the continuity of representation when possible, keep communities of interest intact when possible, and refrain from unnecessary gerrymandering. Once the board completes the apportionment of the city district, it files such with the county clerk and the city clerk. Now, a public hearing was held earlier this evening on the proposed map that is on the TV screens. I can put it on everyone's screens.
They may want to manipulate it themselves.
Yeah, because it's.
It's
our
in your packet
attachment,
as well. I can take that back out then to just the TV, so you can manipulate your own. So for your consideration, an ordinance has been prepared adopting this proposed map as the official 2020 apportionment plan map, and that's what's provided in your packet. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Any questions of Ms. Morrissey?
Yeah, I don't have a question of her, but I've got a statement that I would like to make, and she can listen in on it. I have sit on this board through 2 censuses, and they have never crossed the boundaries over into Autumn Street, Wade Street, none of those streets. And there has to be something done. I don't know what you can do or how it's gonna be done. I'm not threatening, but I would not like to go to court about it, because that's what happened with the first one. Mr. Beard was in on that one with Aaron Garden. But anyway, can you not go back with, what was her name, Gloria?
Mary.
Mary, okay, I named her Gloria.
Lovely name.
And re-look at this.
Yes, ma'am. Noting that one move in a boundary necessitates a move in another boundary.
I know that.
So
Am I eligible to go up into district, into 1?
if the boundary were to move north, if the boundary of District 2 were to move north into District 1, District 1 would have to grow in the number of residents. So it would have to take in residents either out of District 3 or potentially even District 6. It would be a little harder to get them out of 6. So there would have, there would have to be movement in some other districts as well. It could not be just a line between 1 and 2 itself.
You're gonna have to do something, city manager. Can she look at that?
We can certainly relook at those, and this is something that as we discussed this before, the movements that will take place will either unseat District 6 Director Steve Trusty or unseat District 3 Director Marcia Dobbs Smith.
Without having to unseat somebody, city attorney?
Director Jones, I don't see a way of taking any population, well, I shouldn't say that. It's possible. We would have to play with it. We won't be dealing with census blocks any longer.
Are we not required to stay on the census block line?
That's certainly one of the priorities.
Okay.
We'll be glad to go back and take another look, and we've
'Cause she
made
don't
5 or
want it,
6
and I don't
of them.
want her to have it.
Understood. We understand that.
Well, I'd certainly, personally, having lived in the Quapaw Prospect district or area, neighborhood for 18 years.
I was over there too.
Yeah, I was in 3 districts and I never moved. And at one point I was in District 1, which basically put me with my friends on the other side of West Mountain. And you would talk about commonality. I mean, I'm on the south side and they're on the north side of the mountain, and you know, it wasn't necessarily the same community. I understand with what you're saying. Certainly the high-rise circle area, I have it pulled up here and I got it blown up to 125% so I can see it, you know, is where Mr. Harrington's significant housing project is, and that whole area right in there. And I don't know how the census blocks lay a line right in that area, but you know, we certainly we're early enough that we could take a look, see if there is a possibility. We're so tight on our numbers. The legal action that was taken 20, 30 years ago really dealt with representation based upon a different style, different drawing of the. We had 4 districts and 3 at large, and there just wasn't a way at that time for a majority-minority district to be so-called guaranteed or provided for. That was one of the issues during at least one of the legal actions back then. Population for District 1 under this scenario is 6,143, and population of District 2, which is Director Jones's district, is the same number, 6,143. And so I understand the challenges of moving a line, and if you move one line, you're really adjusting all lines in order to provide for some equal balance there. I think Director Trustee is just a little larger, 6,250, and I guess one of the largest is Director Garcia at 6,539, and that. So you know, they're all appropriate as far as the number goes, and then you just have to say, well, is there commonality amongst the neighbors there?
Mayor, there is one option that we can go back and look at, and that's the reverse C that we corrected in these maps. There was concern on whether that's gonna be able to hold up, but it is something we could go back and look at and see what those numbers are. But with the numbers of 1 and 2 needing to grow as much as they do, and 5 needing to shrink, we could look at that. I mean, it's a possibility. I don't want to say that that's out of bounds. That may have enough population and minority percentage to keep all directors within their districts and still be able to do that.
Well, and that's that's the challenge, and at the same time, that's the beauty. We have diversity within our community, and that diversity is throughout the community. And so there are some challenges with that in ensuring that we have a majority-minority district. And as this map provides, it's 54.5%. Within District 2 at this time, based upon the drawing that we have. So we're early enough, certainly early enough in the cycle here. I remember us making comment about this maybe being addressed in the first meeting in November. So we definitely wanted to have it done before the end of the year and targeting first week in November, but here we are in basically middle of October. So we have a little bit of time. Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my understanding that the reverse C that was mentioned is allowable for meeting the requirements of the majority-minority district. And I would move to table this item to November 2nd meeting, and hopefully at the agenda meeting on the 26th, we could review that, and if there are others in District 2 and 1 that had more input, that would give them time to look at that before November 2nd.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Director Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Motion table is adopted. I want to thank those who came forward to speak during the public hearing and in the discussion that we currently had. This concludes the action items for this evening. We do have board commentary. Are there other board members have items to discuss tonight? Any items for discussion? Director Holliday.
I wanted to mention something, if I can find my notes. I apologize. No, I just wanted to give a public thanks to the Hot Springs Area Community Foundation. They have actually awarded a grant to in support of the future splash pad at Watkins Park of $10,000, and they're doing an award ceremony next month. But that was a large award for them and a huge boon to Park Avenue. So I just wanted to say thank you publicly to the Hot Springs Area Community Foundation.
Congratulations. Very nice. Thank you. Any other directors' items for discussion? We do have a public commentary section following this, the adjournment of this meeting. So if there's no further business, Director Jones.
Oh, Mayor, thank you very much. I wasn't dreaming, I was thinking. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn for the night, if it's all right with everybody.
You have a motion to adjourn, seconded by?
Second.
Director Trustee, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Again, just remain in your seats. We'll change the mic system and
7-7.